and I am happy to say that elections are going to be happening. So if you're interested, start thinking right now, right now, right now. We are a community, we are a group who comes together to see the needs of different cultures, to see how we can get our students to pass the English learners to the best of their abilities and what resources we can give you. That is what we do. Welcome to all the schools. Because we do have a jam-packed itinerary today, I think we should leave this part to the end to see where we're at with time. But welcome everybody, and I'm happy to hear about the great things that are happening at your meeting. So we'll talk about that at the end of the meeting. Okay, so what's on our agenda today? Our ELER team is going to be doing a presentation for the California Association for Bilingual Education, and they'll be showing us a little bit about that. Rogers Anderson presentation on Vietnamese American Experience Conference. We'll be talking about that, how that went. Elementary Social Studies Adoption by Ms. Cherise. She'll be presenting on that. And at the end, Ms. Julie will talk to us about elections and how that process goes. Okay, the LPAC test is coming up. We are all very excited. This is what we've been looking forward to. Remember that if you need those links to study for the test or to give just to know about the test and see what the kids are coming up on, or maybe use it as a study tool with your kids. If you don't have it, reach out to your alerts and they can get it for you. And February 2nd to March 31st, that's the window. It'll be different for everybody. Now, I'm very happy about this. I already saw this, but I think it's an excellent video, and I think all the cool schools need to see it. So I think that teachers should play it in their class and make sure that the kids, everyone sees it. So, this. Yay! The first time I saw this, my son Gabriel was doing his homework on the table. And he quickly got up, runs over to see what it was. I love that. I love how they're doing these trends. I love how they're adapting to the children and they're seeing and they're catching their attention. Great on you guys. Thank you for that. So a round of applause for them again, because this is great.
And I'll say the mastermind behind that is Miss Eugenia Miranda at Twain. She is our choreographer, showrunner, director, but the alerts are game participants. So
yes, they're
into.
Miss Eugenia is doing a great job at that, and the videos are great, and it helps us connect to our kids because sometimes we don't know the trends. Sometimes we don't know what's cool or what song is in. So this is, community. It's helping us build what we're going for. So it's great. Thank you guys. Escape. Okay.
Oh, you did.
Okay. Yes. Who wants to talk about this? Do you?
Rosie, you want to talk
Rosie?
about part of that?
Okay. Okay. Think from here. I'll get up if you need.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Rosie Soto. I'm the ELERT at Will Rogers Middle School. And here on this slide are a few pictures of our dual immersion Bridge Day event. It was awesome. It was amazing. We had the opportunity to host the 5th grade cohort for dual immersion at Rogers. So I partnered with Eugenia Miranda on making this day possible, along with ESMOA and the Rogers DI team to make this possible for our kiddos. So what this date entailed is the Twain fifth grade DI cohort walked over to Rogers, and we had two interactive hands-on art sessions facilitated by ESMOA. So here you could see in the cafeteria, the fifth and sixth grade DI cohort, we mixed them up at each table, and they worked on a segment of a bridge. And then eventually each one of those segments or those display boards would be connected together to form a bridge, which also is a metaphor for the connection between Rogers and Twain as for the dual immersion program. The other session was held at the LMC. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see some of the kiddos working on decorating a cover artistically for a journal that they got to take home. So it was a really amazing event, very special for both our staff and for our students in the dual immersion program, and it was a lot of fun. So we hope to continue the partnership to have the students build that community using these activities in partnership with ESMOA to help us bridge that connection between the two DI middle school sites. And then eventually we'll bring along Mitchell too. Thank you.
We had, Maria, you were there, right? At the event. What did you think?
Muy bonito.
Yeah.
Los niños estaban bien contentos.
It was so beautiful. The children were so happy.
Ella está, pues, en sexto
They were
grado
excited.
porque estaban haciendo amigos.
They
Los
were
niños que estaban antes en la escuela.
there were children who had already been there. There were new children, and they
I
were
love
able
this
to
I love
bring
how
each
we're
other
getting them ready, showing
into
them
the
some
fall.
pieces of what's coming. At Twain, they have a buddy program where I don't know if this happens at every school, but the kindergartners, they connect them with a fifth grader and they're their buddies. And the kindergartners feel so big. They feel like I'm bigger than I'm not in kindergarten because they have a friend in the fifth grade. I think this would be awesome, a program like that at the middle school level, so that when they come in, perhaps they have that extra friend. Just an idea. ELERT team first. Is the ELERT team ready? Yes. All right. Handing it over to them.
Oh, by the way, here's the famous Miss Miranda. The
Miss
back
Miranda.
We still have the video. So we gave you all credit for your show running abilities. Okay, so as I told you at a previous meeting, this year CABE is up in San Francisco, so we're unable to take our giant group. Oh, you can't see the picture, it's hidden, of our 40, 50 parents this time. There is a parent-specific one in May that will attend. So we wanted to bring the presentations that our team submitted and were accepted to give you a sense of what we're sharing with the greater state, but we figured you should know first because these are things we're doing in our district. So we're just going to give you just a taste of 3 different presentations that we'll be doing up north. And so I'm going to invite first up Andrea Carr from Roosevelt and Marilyn Gill from Anderson, who are going to talk about the first workshop, From Numbers to Action.
Good morning, everybody. So our session at CABE, it comes from the Summer Newcomer Academy. We had programs for K through 2, 3 through 5, and then we had all newcomers, and we also had a program for 6 through 8 long-term English learners. And one of the sessions that we did with teachers was using this student work analysis protocol. We will be in our CABE workshop called From Numbers to Action. We will be walking participants through this protocol and they will have a chance to experience it. So what we did in the protocol was we started with an ELD standard. That was our focus standard, something important that students need to learn. And then we thought about how are students going to be assessed? How will we know that they know this standard, that they can do it? And then we looked at the student work, whether it was writing or a comprehension assessment, And we analyzed it. We looked at patterns. What were the error patterns? Where were the gaps? What did we need to do to help students to meet that standard? And then we looked at students who were already meeting the standard, and we thought, what can we do to help them expand and develop, continue developing their English to higher and higher levels? And then we took that information and we used that to design instruction to help students to meet those standards. And now Marilyn's going to share with you what our data looked like after going through this process multiple times in the summer.
So we want the participants at CABE not only to get a sense to work through this process, we also want to just highlight how successful it was for our program over the summer. Andrea mentioned that over the summer, we worked with students only for 4 weeks, and we saw a lot of growth. So in our dual immersion program, students worked on encoding and decoding, and in 4 weeks, we saw 17% point growth in encoding and a 20% growth in decoding. For our long-term English learners, which was a span of, we had some 5th graders and 6th through 8th graders. In their pre-assessment, we saw about 44% of students that started with proficiency, and they ended with 83%. So that's almost a 40% growth in those 4 weeks that they were working on that standard. And then for our newcomer group that I was working with, our K2 students, we saw almost a 25% growth in 4 weeks. Our 3rd through 5th grade students, about a 20% growth, and and our middle school group, almost a 40% point growth, and using this protocol. So we just want them to experience not only working through it, but also seeing that this is something that they can replicate possibly in their districts as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for our presenters? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. I think, Rosie, I think you're up next.
Yes. Hi again. So I will also be presenting along with my colleagues at the CABE conference. In working with the English learners, especially at the middle school level, a lot of them become LTELs or long-term English learners by the time they reach the 6th grade. And so my work with the ELD teachers at Rogers involves a lot of academic discourse. I feel very passionately about this topic because I'm a strong advocate that students need to advocate for themselves. And a way to do that is to communicate and share their thinking. So I'm a strong proponent for students being able to talk about what they're thinking. Here's what I think, and here's why. And I also believe that when students talk about their thinking, when they're grappling with a complex text, or they're trying to justify their opinion, the more that they talk about it, the more that they learn from it, then the better that they understand it. And so that supports them with not only advocating for themselves, but being able to work together alongside a peer or a small group in order to grapple with that text or to try to understand and arrive to a conclusion or make an inference. A lot of the work that I'm going to be facilitating in this session comes from the work of Jeff Zwiers. A few years ago, Lawndale collaborated and we went to a conference or series of conferences and sessions with a state organization called Cali. And so I still use this book right here that I included as a snapshot to drive and propel the work that I do with the middle school ELD teachers as well as on site at Rogers. So a lot of what he talks about is being able to embed cognitive moves within academic conversations. So being able to structure those conversations so that we're training students to be able to understand, what does it mean to paraphrase? What does it mean to add an idea? What does it mean to being able to persuade someone or persuade your audience? So I'm going to be guiding the audience in that session with these types of cognitive moves, as well as give other examples of how you can structure
an academic conversation in your class to meet the many needs of students, especially our English learner population. Are there any questions? Yeah.
How do we get this into schools? For the parents to see? Because I think this would be great for us to learn as well. How to start working on this at home and hearing what tools you're using.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share the information, yeah, of course.
Parent workshops.
Yeah.
Workshops. Bring them to you, yeah.
Thank you.
Know that what Rosie's sharing, she's working with our teachers at the middle school to implement, so. It is alive in our schools, but it's good for you as parents to know it too and to also implement. So thank you for bringing that up. You've just added to our to-do list, but yeah, that's just one of the workshops I'd like to add to our Family University catalog. Right, so we have that for you. Okay, another one. This one is a mouthful, but magnifying multilingual magnificence. I can't take credit for the title, but this is, I had the help of our partner, Ima Sulbiareal, who is with TNTP. She's a contractor that we work with that supports the work of the ELERTs and their own professional development, and helped me build this program. And some of you had your students in our summer school this year, but it's really about students learning, teachers learning, ELERTs learning, all at the same time, right? So it's a multi-phase summer school, quite different from what we typically see at summer school. So in this program, we had our newcomer students, our long-term English learner students, and our dual immersion students come for summer school, but they did half of the day with our team. And then the other half of the day they did with a program called BAM, or Brains in Motion, where they got to do some coding and music and movement so that they could have some enrichment while we pulled the teachers over with the ELERTs and did some professional development and coaching every day. So you saw the results that Marilyn and Andrea shared with you. Why did we get such great results? Because the teachers planned together. They went and taught. They had a coach teaching with them, observing, giving feedback. Then they came back the very next afternoon and said, here's what happened. Here's what we did. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. Let's refine it. And then they went back and taught the next day. And then they went back and got some more coaching and some professional development. And they went back and coached. And then they kept looking at the student work to refine. So it's a wonderful opportunity for the teachers to really refine their practice, to learn some new skills, to really see the benefit of having a coach, right? When you see that kind of growth, you get really excited about teaching. And summer school for me is the time to energize our teachers and get them excited again. Like, oh, this is why I went into teaching. I remember because I like to see the light bulb go off. I like to see kids learn, right? And so this is what we really focused on. So all of that was happening for the teachers, but then we thought, for our parents, particularly our parents of our newcomers and our long-term English learners, there are other factors at play, right? For our newcomers, they may be learning not only the language, but a new country, new social structures. There may be stress about how they got here. This summer, we were in the middle of the ice raids, so we did switch and had an online course for the newcomer students who did not feel comfortable coming into class. So all of that impacts learning when you're nervous or stressed or sad or missing family that you had to leave behind. So we made sure that we had workshops for the parents to help cope with. Here are some stresses we're undergoing. Here are some things we can do. Here are some resources. We had our social worker interns, the whole team there, and our community liaisons helping connect family to resources, helping get them into the workshops. So we really wanted to make it a whole child summer experience. And it was, we feel very successful for all involved. And so we intend to do it again this year. And we always get smarter and we always get better. So this year will be even better. And in particular, not only for newcomer and long-term English learners, but dual immersion, we did something very specific and new. And Sharice, do you want to talk about that for a sec?
Sure. So, one of the opportunities that we took advantage of with having our dual immersion students on campus is we got to pilot a new program that we had developed here. And so we look at how students are learning all the time. And we had realized that there was an area we needed to work on. And so as a team, we had developed a program to continue developing students' English and Spanish in how they're reading and writing in both languages. And we got to use this classroom time to try it out, to see if it was working before we implemented it in our classrooms. And we had the teacher teams there. We got to train the teachers. We got to teach alongside with the teachers. And we realized this piece is working great. This piece, we've got to adjust, right? So then we made those adjustments in the moment so that in August, we were able to roll out new supports and curriculum materials to our third grade dual immersion classes, which was really exciting.
And remind us why third grade is such a critical juncture in dual immersion.
Sure. So third grade is the year where students are making a transition to now doing their reading and writing in English as well as in Spanish. In K2, they're most developing primarily their literacy in Spanish. And third grade is a big jump where we now have kids using their language, their reading and their writing in English as well. And we can't leave it to chance that their English will rise to the level of their Spanish. We have to ensure it is happening for every student. And so that's part of the tweak that we made. And now we are implementing it in our third grade classrooms and watching how our students are learning because we made this choice and we implemented this program for a very intentional reason.
So as you can see, summer is our innovation time. So I call it the sandbox, the playground, where we get to really work on refining our skills while supporting our students. So it's a very exciting time. In fact, as Marilyn always says, it's your favorite time of year. Right? Summer school is the best. We love it because we get to try all these new things. So we're excited to share it with our colleagues across the state, and our families here are the surefire beneficiaries because we invite our students who need these supports to get it during the summer. So we're excited to share that with everyone.
Okay, so that's CABE, and that's what we're bringing. And this is typically we focus on our kids who are either learning English and Spanish or who are largely Spanish speakers learning English. We had an opportunity recently to better support our students who speak Vietnamese. And that is an area that we have, I feel, always been a little lacking in because just for lack of resources, being able to find where and how we can get these supports for our kids. But we had the opportunity this year to attend a conference that was specifically targeted that. So I've invited our team that attended. We had a team from Anderson and Rogers, and that was intentional because that's where the majority of our Vietnamese students attend school in our district, to go and bring us back some information. So I'm going to invite them up to tell us all about what they learned at the Vietnamese American Experiences Conference. So we have Maria from Rogers, we have Marilyn from Anderson representing.
I know Gabby's online, so she's.
Oh, Gabby's online. Oh, great.
Okay. So hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Maria and I'm the CL at Rogers. And I had the really great opportunity to attend this conference. It was a really huge eye-opener to realize the resemblance from my own culture as a Latina with the Vietnamese, because I realized that their culture is very similar to ours in the sense of like parents are also very stubborn. They're very you know, they don't like to they do like to participate, but it's the same struggle that we have with our families, right? It's that language barrier or the understanding of like, what is it that I'm gonna go and learn? So do I just click the second button? Okay. So some of the things were like, we learned of creating a space for our families, right? So one of the things that I took away from it was, as middle schoolers, you know, and newcomers, their first intention is, oh, they want to blend in and I want to be American, or I want to look like this because my friends look like this. but realizing that maybe also highlighting more of their culture brings that more acceptance of it's okay to want to be this way, but it's okay to also be happy and embrace my own culture, right? And have the school kind of acknowledge it so it's more accepted and just more awareness of it, right? So those were some of the things that I took away. It was really interesting to see also like how students, again, they shy away from their culture. So especially in the middle schooler, they tend to be like, I don't want to talk about it, or I don't want to stand out. So the way that I want to incorporate that in Rogers is we have a really great SSAs who are Vietnamese. So I really would love the chance to like work with them and have them be that point of contact for our parents. So they also feel like for myself, parents know that the point of contact for Rogers is me. And I will, I speak Spanish, so they're comfortable with me. So having someone that speaks their language and it's a point of contact for them, that might build that bridge of like, if we have a workshop, then we can personally invite them. We can kind of help with like having more displays like this one that I'm thinking for our lunar year, which is February the 17th, kind of having a lunch activity for students to kind of participate in. Because I feel like everyone kind of sees this and they kind of know what it's about, but just bringing more awareness of what it is and make it fun for them. So I thought this was a really great idea. So again, I'm thinking of also like having more parents participate and come to the school to help maybe with this, or maybe they want to do something different, or they want to highlight something that maybe they want the school to display. So I'm really open to that. We also talked about food, which was really interesting because, one of the workshops was about how parents don't really express their feelings, and I can totally relate to that, but they do it through food, right? So that was really interesting to see that maybe your mom never tells you I love you, or she never like cuddles you, but when you're sick, she'll bring you food, or she'll bring you soup, or because she cares, and that's how she shows love. So it was really interesting to see that, because I was like, oh, maybe for lunch we can have like a treat that the kids can resemble and see, right? And highlight their culture. Another one was through music. So we talked about this one was the new wave. So maybe even playing music during the morning that the kids can kind of further culture, right? So certain things that just highlights and promotes and just kind of gets them aware, and also just activities, right? Like these two activists, just so that again that we don't just so we can kind of bring that awareness even more to kids and just visuals, because I think a lot of kids like visuals. So that was my takeaway. So it was really great. I really, really enjoyed it. So again, it was a really big mind opener to see the resemblance over this culture. So I'm excited to see what we do with our families. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Marilyn. I'm the ELERT at Anderson. So I was able to go with my whole team in the sense of we had Gabby, who is our community liaison, joined, and Kieselin, who's our community schools coordinator, also joined. And when we were there, we really had kind of a moment of reflection and kind of an aha moment that this is a group of students that we could definitely do more for. So we went into it really with the lens of like, how could we learn about this group of students so that we can better support them just in our different lanes, right? Because our social worker and our community schools, they're really great about building community and culture at our school. And then myself more on the academic lens and the language lens, but those two worlds really do intersect. So it was a great learning experience. And then we were just like, how many students are we talking about? And we realized we have, almost 60 students that identify as Vietnamese. So we really left wanting to do more. And I'll go back to the community side. Our CL and our community schools coordinator, they're already in the works of creating what they're calling empathy interviews. So they're inviting some of our Vietnamese families, our Vietnamese students to come and have it be an opportunity where they might share some of their culture, share some of their experience as students. And having those interviews took place with our staff and other parent leaders, just so that we can begin to bridge that gap. And to let that learning go all throughout our campus. So that's already one thing that's in motion, and Kieselin has already started reaching out to Van, who was our old social worker who has strong roots in the Vietnamese community. So that was already something that's already taking place. And then go ahead, next slide. So on the academic lens, we also were able to learn things that might help us in the classroom. So really just learning about how we learned a lot about Vietnamese culture, which that was really surprising, but also really beautiful, because we know that when we keep our students centered in, you know, culturally relevant and things that they can identify with, it not only helps with student engagement, but it can support with student learning as well. We were exposed to a variety of different Vietnamese authors and children authors. And I actually took a couple of books to kind of add to my classroom that we can incorporate during ELD, during literacy, and really just having a place where students can see themselves in some of the books that they read. We learned a lot about the student experience. From students, right? What is it like to be a Vietnamese American in a school that most people don't speak Vietnamese or might not have a direct relation to, like, the culture. And like you mentioned, there are a lot of commonalities between maybe the Latino or Hispanic or Mexican second generation or third generation experience and the Vietnamese experience. So while there were a lot of things that brought us together, just learning about some of those intricacies in the Vietnamese culture as well. And then finally, we were able to talk to a lot of teachers who do a really good job of teaching Vietnamese history and supporting their Vietnamese students, especially from teachers who might not speak Vietnamese. And then just kind of remembering that the strategies that we use to support our Spanish-speaking students, good teacher practice is good teacher practice, whether you're supporting a student who only speaks Spanish or a student who only speaks Vietnamese, right? Good teaching is good teaching. And we were able to kind of get a glimpse of what that could look like in our classrooms. That's it for me. Thank you.
So fear not if your child doesn't attend Rogers or Anderson. We'll be sharing this across all the sites so that we all keep improving in our understanding and how we connect with our families. So
Yes, just curious, when is Cabo San Francisco?
March 4th.
thank you, March 4th. And Cabe in Riverside, which is our day trip that we can do, is in May.
Okay, so lots, we've been throwing a lot at you. Do you need to, let's take a minute and just turn to somebody next to you and say, what just what struck you this morning? Okay, turn to a partner, 1 minute. What's your takeaway from today? What's something new you learned today that you want to share with your friends when you get back? And then it'll be you. That's our transition.
So I take those notes on my. This helps share. We got lots to do.
I saw that one mostly. And when I saw that, I gotta figure out how to do this. Oh, thanks. Like I try to repeat that. So how long
Some do, like Twain has their multicultural things, I'm not sure if it's, yeah, and it's random hires, it's not.
But it'd be nice. I know. I want to. If we're gonna say like, trust me, everybody. You're gonna really focus on this group.
Then we run the risk of leaving somebody out. Now we gotta I gotta find an Arabic one. But that's never.
Italian, German, Polish.
So this sparks some conversation. So as we come back, the whole group. Is there anything you talked about with your neighbors or your new friend that you'd like to share with the whole group? You know, you were buzzing. Anything you want to lift up for everyone?
Miss Lydia had her hand up.
Oh, we are very excited. We're very excited about that the feeling that we're getting about the sense of belonging, how we're working on that and creating that unit, that connection between elementary and middle school. It'll go a long way, just because it's not only the parents who are scared of what's gonna happen. The kids are very scared too. So if we start building connections, then, enrollment may increase, it'll be better for everybody. The kids, the student, the district, the teachers, we're building family, we're building community. So if we can connect them really to it, not just say it, but make them do it, we're on a good path. So we're on a good path. And the fact that the Vietnamese, I saw this conference and that we are participating and we're not just looking out, because a lot of the times we see, oh, it's community of multilingual families doesn't get the representation that it does, because we're here to service everybody, not at any different language that it is. So to see that you guys are going to these conferences and getting the tools and seeing the similarities that we have, like Rosie was saying, it will help build that community, because we are very much the same.
Just so you know, she may not be speaking, but Emily here, who's our coordinator of community schools, is madly taking notes and already planning. Seeing us coming up about events and things. Do you want to? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Would you like to share what you've been thinking?
Oh, well, not yet, but just thinking on a bigger scale, like, I knew Kieslyn was going to this, which is awesome because she's bringing that back to the team. And obviously we know we don't have a actual site coordinator at Twain, but I'm constantly working with Twain, with the parents as well as admin, on making sure we're doing the same at all the school sites and as well as Carson. But just really looking at how we can do a lot of what you actually said, sense of belonging. That's really the root, is a sense of belonging at every site that you walk in and you feel that warm hug, sense of community, sense of, wow, like I really am seen, valued, and heard, whether I'm a parent, whether I'm a student, whether I'm a sibling. And so really looking at what are some different festivals we can do at school sites, what can we do district-wide to really celebrate the culture, because we have a lot of rich culture in our district, and it needs to be celebrated. because we want them to look at themselves in a mirror to say, I'm proud of who I am, but I also have this to offer. So I just have ideas in my mind, but we're working on it. I'm excited for the rest of this year and next year and beyond.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, now I'm gonna transition us. It's related but not related, but we have adopted a new social studies curriculum that Sharice would like to share with you all to get share with you what it looks like, how it works. I say it's related because it's talking about cultures, right? And we're looking at this is how we teach our children to learn about the world. So with that, I will turn it over to Sharice to share with you what we have on tap.
Excellent. Hi, good morning again. So our elementary schools, all 6 of them, are adopting a new social studies curriculum. It has been a long time since we've had a new social studies program. And so we went through a whole adoption process that I want to tell you a little bit about. And then I also want to show you some of the resources that I brought with us today. Okay. So we started this process last year in April, and we looked at 4 programs that had been approved by the state of California. So California reviewed, studied, and evaluated many social studies programs, and all 4 of these were approved by the state. And our team of teachers looked at each of the programs very closely to evaluate them to determine which was the best program for us in Lawndale, for our elementary schools in Lawndale. Every school site was represented with at least one teacher who was on the committee representing their school and their grade level and evaluating the programs, all 6 elementary schools. And of the 4, we quickly narrowed it down to 2 that we felt were the strongest, the most developed, and the most appropriate programs, just looking at them for our kids here in Lawndale. And those were a program called My World, or Mi Mundo, by Sabas, and Impact California, or Impacto. And so we took these 2 programs into classrooms. Teachers taught one program first, and then another program second, and they studied which program worked better in their classrooms for their grade level and with their students. And the teachers, myself, and the students, we collected feedback, we collected opinions, and it was determined by the team and by student voice that Impact would be the program that would be recommended to the Board of Education for our schools here in Lawndale. Teacher teams felt strongly that it best met the needs of the students. One thing that we really like about Impact is it has a complementary, equal partner in the Spanish curriculum, which is important for our dual language classrooms, both at Billy Mitchell and at Mark Twain, which some grade levels teach social studies completely in Spanish. And so it comes with a fully developed Spanish complement. Students said some of these amazing things about their experiences with Impact. Students appreciated all of the activities and projects. There's a lot of resources in the program, so there's many different things you can do with it. Students loved working with partners and classmates. They thought that it was interesting reading and discussing the stories and facts. They felt that the writing assignments, they got to do writing assignments and typing projects on Chromebooks. And the kids felt that there was lots of literacy connections. Some of the 5th graders specifically called out cause and effect. They really did a lot of work around cause and effect and how these metacognitive organizational text structures were used in the program. The kids were using both a textbook and a consumable book, and they commented that there were a lot of pictures, which bring meaning. Each of the Every unit in many lessons have videos that complement the learning. And a lot of this activities that they did were based around the Constitution and the three branches of government. And one of the activities that they liked was that the class got to act out being states, and they got to choose which branch of government they would want to work in. So they got to do a lot of interactive activities with the kid, with the curriculum in their unit. So it was a good experience for kids. And what I wanted to show both on Zoom, and I have some in-person resources as well, is some of the things that we did in the classrooms. So this comes from first grade dual immersion, primer grado, doble inmersión. And this unit or this chapter talks about our life now and life in the past. And this was a unit opener. So this was just getting them excited about the topic. But they created, you know, an organizer based on a movie. This is a video that they watched. And the kids got to wonder about, what do I want to know about the past? Kids had really cool ideas that they brought up. And then kids also got to work through a group activity of 4 images that show how a city changes over time. And the kids were really interested in how when more people come to a city, the city changes. And so we got to talk about this, and this first grade class determined that Lawndale was somewhere right in between these two, because we're really close to the skyscrapers of Los Angeles, but we're not quite Los Angeles yet. So Lawndale is kind of right in between here. They determined that that's where Lawndale is in its growth as a city. So this was a launch of first grade dual immersion. And then the other piece I brought, this is a third grade English unit. They're studying a lot about the Constitution, the branches of government, Capitol building, and something that's included in the program are these cool photos. And so the kids get to make these little crafts that help them organize their thinking and learning about a topic. So you think about the Capitol building, you think of like their notes inside, and keep it together. So if you would like at any time today, I'll keep this up to the end of the meeting later at the end. But up here are all of the dual immersion activities that we did. The pamphlets are here. And then you can see kindergarten, second grade, and fifth grade if you wanted to even learn what the materials look like. That's students will have experience. And then we also have this workbook, which you'll maybe go home in a unit or maybe go home at the end of the year. The students get to write all of their ideas, keep track of the vocabulary that they're learning, and get prompts and any questions or comments?
Therese, it's Ileana.
Hey, Ileana.
Hi everyone. I was just yesterday, it's so interesting. It's nice to see the connection already I'm making where this is building a lot of background, especially, you know, well, for our EL students and all of our students. We're just in a classroom yesterday, Julie, and this is very familiar to me. Our teacher was practicing a graphic organizer with our students, a writing piece, and I love seeing the connection already and developing that background for our students. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Some of the first grade students in this classroom, they were like, in our reading text, we are studying technology. And there was technology in the past, and there's technology today. So they were making lots of connections between their reading curriculum and the new social studies. Awesome. Thank you. I'll stay around a little bit after. You're welcome to come over and see anything. Touch it, look at it.
Thank you. All right, this has been a heavy, full of information kind of day, huh?
And we just have a couple more things. One is just a reminder. It dawned on me recently that it's 2026. And our current officers were elected for the 24-25 and 25-26 school year. So these ladies, Lydia, Lisa, Giannina, who I'm not sure if she's with us online, have been doing this job now for almost 2 years, and it is almost time to pass the torch to some new leaders. So I'm just putting this in your mind right now. We're not going to do anything about it today, but now it's time to start thinking, maybe I want to do something next year. Maybe I've been leading at my school site. Maybe I'm ready to do something bigger. Maybe. So here's my thinking. So our next meetings that we have coming up, we have one on March 25th and one on April 22nd. So I'm thinking at our March meeting, we could talk about the roles. Lydia can talk to you about what it's like being president. Lisa can talk to you about what it's like being secretary. What's it like being part of this leadership, working with me, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that together, right? And then we can take nominations. And then we could either do the elections right then and there or hold them in April. But these are the 2 meetings we have left in the year to do that work. So I just want to put that in your brains as something to think about, because we need to, it's time again to elect new leaders. These ladies have worked hard, and I'm sure they're happy to hand it off. They can always take a break and then run again down the line, but it's time to give some others a chance. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lydia to kind of close us out with where you wanted to go at the beginning. We still have a little bit of time. And then I just have some announcements of upcoming events that you can.
Sounds good. I just want to add a little bit to this, the nominations. This is a really great opportunity for you to lead as a parent. You get all the help you need right here. Miss Julie and her team are great. Don't ever be scared that you won't be able to do the job, because you can, and you will find people to help you along the whole way. Any question you have, they're here to answer it, and you can do it. You can do it. And the more people that know how to do this position, the more we can spread it out to our schools. So it's like, let's look at who else really wants to take the position to spread it across the schools, to continue to help it continue to grow. It's very rewarding. It's, it really is a good thing to help the community, and to, it's wear my uniform everywhere I go and tell them, oh, have you heard about ELAC? Have you heard about community and multilingual families? It's very rewarding, and to be in the know of what the school is doing. Keep them on their toes too, So, we have questions. We can give you the answers here. So for that, we do have a couple more meetings. I don't know the agendas for the next 10 meetings, but like always, they're going to be awesome. So March 25th is our next meeting, and April 22nd is the one after that. And then we'll have the LCAT meeting, which is where Virginia Castro comes, our superintendent comes and gives the report for the end of the year. So please tell everyone about that and put it in their calendars. And we have the parent leader celebration on May 27th, which is also a lot of fun always. May 12th, speak to your e-alerts if you're interested. As you saw, some of our e-alerts are doing the Vietnamese ones. This is CABE. This is a little bit of everything. There's many cultures here and needs here that we can come back and implement in our schools. And it's great for parents from different schools to participate, because all the schools have different needs. So we could see what works best for our school. So if you have interest in participating, contact your e-alerts to see if there's still spots available for you. Volunteer opportunities. It's never too late to start. We can start the process. We can get your fingerprints. We can send you to get your TB test, and we can make it happen. With more parent participation, we can get more things done. So, the libraries are always needing help. So if you can volunteer at the libraries, please reach out to Miss Erin, and she can set you up with some volunteer hours. Board meetings. Upcoming board meetings. We have Mitchell presenting on the 5th, Roosevelt on the 19th, and Twain on the 5th of March. So those some things we have to look forward to. And show up and support your schools. Meetings coming up. January 27th. Well, here you go. Okay, here you go. And with the couple minutes that we have left, I please come to our next meeting. But tell me, is anybody excited to share something that has happened at their school? Yes.
Buenos días a todos.
Buenos días.
Estoy muy agradecido, me siento privilegiado de tantas mujeres valientes y dispuestas a hacer cambio.
Gracias.
Tenía tantas ganas de
Something
estar
about being very grateful.
por varias razones.
Sorry, the audio's a little.
No había podido estar, pero
I wasn't able to attend, but
el programa de doble inmersión y escuchar todo esto
I
muy claro.
have children in the dual immersion program.
Trabajando en casa porque es interesante
And
escuchar tantas cosas que
it's
nosotros
so
les
interesting
enseñamos a nuestras niñas, cómo
to
es este
hear
sistema cultural,
about
y
what
es
we're
triste ver
teaching our children.
cómo en la
Right,
comunidad
there's a
hemos
whole
perdido
cultural system, and it's
realmente
sad
nunca
to
debería
see
darse, ¿verdad?
what the
Sino
community has
cómo
lost.
vivir todos juntos sin
How we
dificultades,
can,
sino aprendiendo
so
unos
this
con otros
idea
de la mejor
of
manera, ¿verdad?
living
Y
together,
estas
living
mujeres,
with
esta
each
equipo ha
other,
trabajado en otras directivas y
understanding
demás,
each
pero
other, and
este
so
año
I love being
la
here.
mayoría mujeres y es
I know
interesante
it's
realmente
mostly women, and I
aprender
actually,
mucho
it's so
específico de la
interesting to
escuela,
be
porque me deja mucho
in a group
para
that's mostly women, and
la escuela, el distrito de la
hearing
nuestra
more
escuela.
about the
Es
schools
interesante, ¿verdad?
and the
Porque creo que son las
district.
cosas que
I
realmente me
think
ha
it's
apasionado tanto
it's
hoy,
critical to be
estamos
talking about these
escuchando,
things
aprendiendo y
because
somos
we're
nosotros los que podemos
hearing and
los padres
listening,
enseñando a nuestros
and
hijos
so we're the
con todo
people
esto que
who
está
can
pasando
bring that to the
aquí
table
en
as
esta reunión.
parents. So
Definitivamente
this
tengo que
meeting
mucho
is
aprender mucho
definitely,
y les quiero felicitar por
I just want to say, I think we're um, we're
estoy a
doing
disposición
well, and I want to
si es
congratulate
tu
you
tiempo de poder
all.
participar y
And
tratar de ser
anytime I have the
me
time to
hace muy feliz
participate, I want to do it. My daughters are so happy
siempre hemos
in dual
estudiado
immersion.
cómo
We've been
pronunciar
really
palabras mejor en
working
español y
on
en inglés
how to recognize
porque en la escuela
words
les
in
encanta y
Spanish and
estamos
English.
enseñándoles eso a convivir
So
con
we're
tantas diferentes
starting
culturas, ¿verdad?
also
Y
with
eso
this
me
idea with
hace
them of
sentir
how
muy
to live with
seguro de
so
eso
many other
y me
cultures.
siento muy
Um,
privilegiado de eso, muy amable.
I'm
Muy
so
amable por
grateful,
sus palabras, gracias. Y lo
and
felicito a usted
so
porque llegó
yeah, thank
y
you for your
quería
words, and
mejorar.
I want to
Necesitamos
congratulate you because you're
necesitamos
here. It's never too
participación
late
de
to
hombres
be
para ver
here,
cómo
and we do need
piensan
more
ustedes,
men.
para
We
ver
need to hear more about how men think,
para poder ayudar a todos,
because
¿verdad?
we
A
want
traer
to be able
diferentes
to help
puntos de
everyone.
vista. Se los
We want to
felicito
have
y
different points
siga
of
viniendo, por
views.
favor. Sí.
So I congratulate you for coming, and
Una cosa que
please
quiero
keep
decir.
coming.
Yes, our
And I have
cultures are
one thing
very
to say.
similar, very similar. And like Rosie said, we have some of the same problems in our cultures. Our parents may not know how to apologize, but they know how to make you those enchiladas after they know that plate that you like. And if we can build on those little things as a community, we can get stronger. Because I don't know what the Vietnamese dish is, but I'm sure they make it too because the cultures are similar, or something that they like. So let's keep growing. And the fact that we should have never lost that, like you said, sir, that we should have never lost that. I just want to share a little tidbit of my life. I took a trip this past summer to Mexico on an RV in a trailer, and we went down to Mexico all the way to Baja. Excuse me, all the way to Cabo. On our trip, my husband and I were thinking, how can we get back? How can we get back? Because Mexico has a lot of beautiful things to offer. People come here because of necessity a lot of the times. And we should embrace that into our children. Our culture is beautiful. Let's keep it, maintain it, and know that we have to change sometimes because of necessity, but it's still good to be you. So that's it. And anybody would like to share anything else? We're a little over, but no.
20 years of DI.
20 years of DI. Yay! This year we're celebrating 20 years of the dual immersion program. So this is great. And 20 years shows it's success. It's there. Congratulations to all. Yes, thank you. And see you at the next meeting, everybody. Thank you for coming.